You've spent years building your style, and somehow your hair still makes you look older than you feel. Nobody tells women over 50 the truth about hairstyles. Until now. Let's fix these hairstyles together, because your natural elegance deserves so much better than what you've been carrying. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and youth-boosting fixes for mature women, so you get simple, proven transformations that work instantly. Today we're uncovering the hairstyles that are quietly aging you. And by part 3, you'll want to pause and look in the mirror. I mean it. We're covering 7 common cuts and styles that steal years from your face, plus the exact swaps that give them right back. And the very first hairstyle mistake? I see it on 9 out of 10 women over 50. Let's go. 1. The blunt chin length bob. Here is something most women never expect to hear. One of the most popular haircuts for women over 50 is one of the most aging. You sat in that salon chair feeling hopeful. You walked out feeling uncertain. And if you have been blaming your face, stop right now. Because it was never your face. It was the cut. The blunt chin length bob. It feels modern. It feels clean. And after 50, it does something quietly devastating to your face. Here is what no one tells you. As we age, our facial structure softens. The jawline loses definition, and cheekbones naturally flatten. A heavy blunt line sitting right at the jaw draws every eye straight to the widest point of the face, and amplifies exactly the features you would rather not spotlight. This one is everything. The cut is not flattering you. It is working against your bone structure. The fix is not a completely new look. It is a subtle one that changes everything. Ask your stylist for soft internal layers that begin just below the cheekbone. This removes the weight from the jaw without cutting the length you love. The difference between a blunt bob and a layered bob is the difference between a face that looks heavy and a face that looks lifted. If you are still wearing a blunt jaw-length bob, swap it for a softly layered version at the same length. The transformation is immediate and it will surprise you. Honestly, this is the one I wish someone had whispered to me 10 years earlier. The layers do not show. They simply make your whole face breathe differently. Your bone structure was always this beautiful. The right cut just lets it finally speak. One upkeep tip. Visit your stylist every 8 weeks to keep those internal layers fresh. When they grow out, the weight returns, and so does the aging effect. Coming up next, the hairstyle that feels youthful but is doing the opposite. Most women are wearing it right now and have no idea. 2. The flat top crown blowout. Have you ever finished styling your hair, stepped back, and felt like something was missing, but you could not name it? That quiet unease is your instincts trying to tell you something. And today, I am going to say it out loud. After 50, volume at the crown is everything. Not because it is a trend, because your face changes, and your hair needs to change with it. When the crown lies flat, it visually shortens the entire face. It compresses your features downward, and makes the lower half of your face appear heavier than it actually is. The result? You look tired. Not because you are, but because your silhouette is pulling everything in the wrong direction. This is something that made a close friend of mine stop mid-sentence and say, "Wait, is that what I have been doing?" The fix is crown lift. Not a perm. Not a new cut. Just intentional root volume using a round brush or a diffuser while drying, beginning at the roots closest to the crown. Your stylist can also add a few soft face framing layers that naturally encourage height at the top. If you have been blowing your hair straight and flat across the top, swap it for a technique that lifts the roots up and back. The vertical height elongates your entire face and gives your features the space they deserve. Yes. That's simple. 2 more swaps that matter. If you are using a heavy cream at the roots, switch to a lightweight volumizing mousse. And if your part sits flat and dead center, shift it slightly to one side. Even half an inch of movement creates asymmetry that reads as youth. One maintenance tip. Sleep on a silk pillowcase to preserve that root lift overnight. Cotton collapses volume by morning. Silk protects it. The transformation from flat crown to lifted crown is one of the most dramatic shifts you can make without changing a single thing about your cut. Stay with me, because part 3 is the mistake that feels the most elegant, and it is the one doing the most damage. 3. The too long single-length hair. Bold truth. Long hair after 50 is not the problem. Unstructured long hair after 50 absolutely is. there is something no one says because it feels unkind. Very long single-length hair. No layers, no movement, no shape. Pulls the face downward in a way that no other mistake quite replicates. Gravity works against all of us as we age. Our features naturally settle, and our skin follows. When hair is long and heavy with no internal structure, it joins gravity in pulling everything down. Your eyes, your cheeks, your entire expression. All of it gets dragged toward the floor. The fix is not cutting your beloved length. The fix is adding life to it. Long layers beginning at the collarbone completely transform what long hair does to a mature face. They create movement. They allow the hair to fall away from the face rather than cling to it. And they introduce a sense of lightness that takes years off your appearance without removing a single inch of length you love. If you are still wearing long hair in one heavy unbroken line, swap it for long layers that begin at or above the collarbone. And your face will look visibly lifted within 24 hours of leaving the salon. Honestly, this is the one I hear the most relief about. Women say, I had no idea I could keep my long hair and still look this different. There is one technique that changes how your entire silhouette reads from across the room. And it takes your colorist exactly one appointment to add it. Face framing pieces, slightly lighter than the rest of your hair, placed just around the temples and cheekbones. They draw light toward your features and visually lift the upper face in a way that layers alone cannot. That combination, long layers plus face framing highlights, is the one that genuinely changes everything about how long hair reads after 50. Maintenance tip: deep condition every 2 weeks when wearing long hair. Dryness amplifies heaviness and makes aging-related texture far more visible at longer lengths. What comes next in part 4 is the one mistake that looks like confidence, until you know what it is actually doing. For the mushroom cut. You've seen it. You may have worn it. And if no one has ever explained why it feels slightly off, I am doing it right now. The mushroom cut, rounded full at the sides, cropped close at the back, is one of the most requested styles at salons. And it is one of the most reliably aging shapes a woman over 50 can choose. Here is why. The mushroom shape adds horizontal width at exactly the wrong place, the temples and the sides of the face. Width at the sides visually widens the face, flattens the cheekbones, and removes the vertical length that makes a face look refined and youthful. After 50, when our features naturally become more horizontal, adding more horizontal shape through the haircut accelerates every one of those changes. This one is doing more damage than you realize. The swap is a tapered or angled shape. Same short length, same ease of styling, but instead of the sides flaring outward, they angle gently inward toward the jaw or neck. This creates vertical emphasis, lifts the visual weight of the face upward, and makes the cheekbones look defined in a way the mushroom never allows. If you are wearing a mushroom cut right now, ask your stylist for an angled or tapered pixie or crop style. The shape is everything, and one small adjustment changes what your entire face communicates. Honestly, this is the conversation I have wished I could have with so many women I have passed on the street. The cut feels low maintenance and practical. And it is, once you have the right shape. There is one feature the right shortcut unlocks that nothing else can. When the sides are tapered rather than rounded, your neck becomes visible. And a visible neck, clean, elegant, long, is one of the most youthful things a woman can show after 50. It draws attention upward. It creates height. It makes earrings sing. Your natural elegance has always been there. The right shape simply stops hiding it. Maintenance tip: return to your stylist every 5 to 6 weeks for a tapered shortcut. The moment the sides begin to round out again, the mushroom silhouette returns, and the aging effect comes with it. Part 5 is the one that is going to surprise you the most, because this mistake is hiding inside a style that everyone tells you looks great. 5. The center part straight blowout. You've watched the tutorials. You've seen the results. The sleek center part blowout looks flawless on young faces. And after 50, it quietly does something very different. Have you ever looked in the mirror after a blowout and felt like everything looks somehow more severe? Not wrong exactly, just heavier. That feeling is your instincts responding to exactly what I am about to describe. A precise center part is mathematically symmetrical. And symmetry, while beautiful in theory, does one very specific thing to a mature face. It mirrors it exactly. Every softened feature, every change in definition, every asymmetry that has naturally developed over years. The center part reflects both sides equally and draws full attention to them all at once. After 50, your face has character. The center part does not celebrate that. It just divides it in half. The swap is a soft side part, shifted just 1 to 2 inches from center, no more. This simple change breaks symmetry, creates diagonal movement across the forehead, and draws the eye upward and across rather than straight down the middle of the face. The result is an immediate lift. Not a surgical one, a visual one. And the difference is remarkable. If you are still defaulting to a dead center part on a smooth blowout, swap it for a soft off-center part, and keep a little movement in the ends rather than blowing them perfectly flat. This is the one that made a friend of mine stop mid-conversation, tilt her head, and say, "Wait, something is different. You look 10 years younger. What did you do?" The answer was 2 inches of part movement and 10 minutes of her stylist's time. There is something else that works beautifully alongside a soft side part. Soft texture at the ends, a slight bend, not a full wave, breaks the stiffness of a sleek blowout and gives the hair a lightness that reads as youthful on camera and in person. Smooth and stiff reads older. Smooth with movement reads radiant. Those beautiful eyes of yours deserve framing that leads toward them, not a part that divides your face like a boundary line. Maintenance tip: use a light flexible hold spray rather than stiff hairspray when finishing this look. Stiffness amplifies the severity that a center part already creates. Part 6 is one I did not expect to include, until I started seeing it on women everywhere, and realized no one was talking about it. 6. The over-thinned ends. You wanted texture. You wanted movement. And your stylist picked up the thinning shears, and kept going. If your ends look wispy, straggly, or almost transparent at the tips, this part is for you. And please hear me clearly. This was not your fault, and it does not mean your hair is gone. Over-thinned ends are one of the most common styling mistakes made on mature hair, and one of the most damaging. After 50, our hair naturally becomes finer. The density we had at 35 is simply not the same density we have now. When a stylist overuses thinning shears, they remove the weight that fine hair desperately needs to look full, healthy, and structured. The result is ends that look depleted. And depleted hair reads as aged hair, no matter how beautiful the cut itself might be. This one is everything. And the fix is not growing your hair back. It is being specific at your next appointment. Ask your stylist explicitly. No thinning shears on the bottom 2 inches of your hair. All of your hair's visible weight lives at the ends. Protecting that weight is what gives your style shape, fullness, and the visual density that reads as youthful and healthy. If texture is what you want, ask instead for point cutting. A technique that creates movement without removing the actual mass of the hair. If your stylist has been using thinning shears freely on your ends, swap that instruction for point cutting on the mid-lengths only, and you will feel the difference in how your blowout looks and holds within one appointment. Honestly, this is the conversation that most women have never had with their stylist because they did not know it was an option. Now you do. There is one product change that makes a real difference while your ends recover. A lightweight thickening serum applied to damp ends before drying. Not a heavy cream, not a thick oil. Gives fine hair the appearance of density without weighing it flat. Your stylist can recommend one specific to your hair type. Your hair does not need to be thick to look full. It needs to be cut and finished in a way that protects what it already has. Maintenance tip: trim your ends every 6 to 8 weeks when growing out over-thinned lengths. Small regular trims remove the thinnest portion of each strand and keep the density line moving upward. Part 7 is the one that surprises every woman I share it with, because it is a mistake most people would never think to question. 7. The in-face framing cut. Picture this. You leave the salon with a beautiful cut, clean, well-shaped, freshly blown out. And something about your face still feels flat. Not bad. Just flat. You cannot explain why. I can. After 50, face framing is not optional. It is the feature that does more for how your face reads than any other element of your haircut. And most women never know it is missing until I describe what it does. When hair has no framing around the face sits in the center of a uniform shape, and the eye has nothing to lead it upward. There are no visual cues pulling attention toward your eyes, your cheekbones, or your temples. The result is a face that reads as heavy, undefined, and older than it is. Face framing layers. Soft pieces that begin at the cheekbone and angle gently inward toward the chin. Do something remarkable. They create a natural arrow pointing directly at your eyes. They draw the viewer's gaze upward and inward rather than outward and down. And they frame your features the way a beautiful painting deserves to be framed. If you are wearing a style with no pieces around the face, swap it for soft cheekbone-length face framing layers. And ask your colorist to add the smallest amount of warmth to those pieces specifically. Even a half shade lighter than the rest of your hair is enough to draw light directly to your features. This is the one technique that changes how your entire face reads in person and on camera. And it takes your colorist exactly one session to do. Honestly, I cannot overstate how much those beautiful eyes of yours deserve to be the first thing anyone sees. Face framing makes that happen every single time. There is one final detail that elevates this even further. Ask your stylist to keep the face framing pieces slightly longer than classic curtain bangs, but shorter than the rest of your length. That in-between zone is where the framing has the most power without requiring any extra styling time on your part. Your natural elegance was never the problem. It just needed the right frame. Maintenance tip: face framing layers need refreshing every 8 to 10 weeks. As they grow, they lose their angle and blend back into the main length, and the lifting effect disappears with them. You just learned 7 hairstyle mistakes that most women spend years, sometimes decades, figuring out alone. And you now know the exact swaps that change everything. Wear your next salon appointment with the confidence it was always meant to carry. You are not starting over. You are simply starting right. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 hairstyles were you wearing without realizing what it was doing? Drop it in the comments. Be honest. You might be surprised how many women say the same thing. Next time, we are covering the one clothing mistake that adds 10 years in under 3 seconds. And the fix is already in your wardrobe. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I will see you in the next one.